to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and happy to be with you. Happy March. It's finally starting to warm up here in the Northeast, and feels like spring a little bit. Feels like spring. So welcome to the show, our live viewing audience. We are going to meet Dr. Andrew Ecker in just a moment. He is a director. He is a leader. He's an educator at Putnam Northern Westchester Boces. And not all Boces are created equal. And man, Putnam Northern Westchester Boces is a phenomenal group. So I'm looking forward to chatting with one of their great leaders, Dr. Andrew Ecker. I met Andrew last summer at the retreat there, and bam, just connected. Basketball, leadership. He's a former college basketball player, and when you meet another former basketball player, there's a connection there. So a quick word to open the show from IXL. I want to thank them for sponsoring Education, Leadership, and Beyond. I'd like to thank IXL for sponsoring today's podcast. Over 1 million teachers use IXL in their classroom every day. IXL is the most widely used online learning and teaching platform K through 12. It empowers schools with complete curriculum, thousands of instructional resources, robust reporting, assessment data, and more. It saves teachers a lot of valuable time with ready-made plans aligned to the standards and the textbooks. Built-in engagement tools like custom competitions make learning fun for students. And IXL's diagnostic is research proven to be a strong predictor of performance on standardized assessments. And the best part, everything I just mentioned is all integrated into one platform, so you can simplify your EdTech tools. Visit IXL.com to lead your students towards data-driven excellence today. The link is in the show notes. And again, appreciate IXL sponsoring today's podcast. Okay, let's get rolling. Thank you, IXL. The opening concept is Dr. Seuss Week. Here. It's the March 4th right now. It's the first week of March. And it's Read Across America Week in schools, and it's Dr. Seuss Week. I mean, you talk about a content creator. Dr. Seuss was the first content creator. And I love it. I love the rhymes. I love the colors. I love the stories. And I'll be reading on Friday in Port Jervis schools and there. So I like the Lorax. The Lorax is my book there. And the last line of the Lorax is famous, right? We all know it. We saw the movie, you read the book. Unless someone like you, Andrew Ecker, unless someone like you, Dr. Lynn Allen, unless someone like you, Neil Boyle, at Putnam Northern Westchester, wherever you are as an educator, unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. That care, that focus on children, that high five, that hug, it doesn't have to come from someone else. It's got to come from you. And we appreciate your caring, and we appreciate what you're doing as educators out there. And let's meet a great one today. Let's welcome Andrew into the show. Live from Manhattan, Dr. Andrew Ecker. Andrew, welcome.
Andrew, thank you so much for having me. Wow, I'm just sitting with that, with what you just shared, and if I can, this is your show, but I'd like to start just by giving some thanks. And you mentioned that we met last year at our Putnam Northern Westchester Boces administrative retreat, and connecting with you was very special for me. And I want to share something just right off the bat. You mentioned springtime, and spring is a time when things bloom. And you had shared a story with us about apples and about a tree and about planting those seeds, and that often that those who plant the seeds don't often get to enjoy the shade. And that story really stuck with me, and I shared it with my team in the work that they did. And I just want to thank you, because my team and I have used that story throughout this entire year. It's meant a lot to us. I have your apple on my desk at work, and I see it and think about it and think back to that day. And I want to thank you for having me on here today. And you also mentioned two other very important people in my life. That's Dr. Lynn Allen and that's Neil Boyle, who are absolutely hit the horns, mentors, incredible leaders, people, and just the best people. And I'm, without people like them, without you, I certainly wouldn't be here today. And also shout out to IXL and thank you for making this all possible.
And that's a wrap, folks. There we go. Andrew, wow, thank you, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. What a way to open the show. It's awesome when the stories connect. That quote Andrew is referring to, right? He or she who plants the tree rarely gets to enjoy its shade, right? We're doing that work, that care. So thanks, Andrew.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Well, friends, Andrew already hit a home run here on the show. Let's see if we can get him on base again. Dr. Andrew Ecker, a New Yorker here, but lives in Manhattan now. I think that's pretty cool. Andrew, you're the director of for regional partnerships, and you held a bunch of different other positions at Boces. But what is that role? What do you do there? I'm sure it's a lot of different things, but talk to me about your role there at Putnam Northern
Yeah.
Westchester Boces.
Thanks. So everything we do at Putnam Northern Westchester Boces is to improve outcomes for students. So pathways to success for every student. In my case, specifically students with disabilities. So in New York State, we have 12 regional partnership centers that are funded and organized through our Office of Special Education. I am proud to be the director for the Lower Hudson Regional Partnership Center, which is at Putnam Northern Westchester Boces, and we serve all schools in Westchester, Putnam, and Rockland counties, including Yonkers. So it's an honor and a privilege to be able to provide support to educators throughout the region, preschool through 12, all educators, all in service to students with disabilities and their families.
Yeah, awesome. That's very cool. What's something you're working on now, Andrew?
Oh, wow. What are we working on right now? I just came from a great training led by a colleague, and she was leading a training on curriculum-based measures, and I am learning a lot on that. I did not have a lot of experience in that area, particularly in literacy and particularly in the early childhood area. So I am learning, and I love learning from folks on my team who are just incredible trainers, and they love their work so much in the areas of literacy, behavior, culturally responsive education, transition, specially designed instruction, CSC and CPSC processes. I'm humbled by all the expertise that they bring, and I love learning from them, and hope that I can only give back, in just a little bit of what they always can give to me.
Yeah. Home run there, Andrew, that early learning, that literacy, watching those teachers put the letters and the words together, gluing them together. It really is like magic. And then when you could see,
Amazing.
like you said, student outcomes, you could see the kid read the word and then, feel good. It's beautiful to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah. We are making meaning as we go.
Yeah, very cool. Andrew, someone who was an educator and then a principal, and now you're outside the classroom. I always like to ask, how do you structure your day? We have some autonomy now, how we design our school days versus the bell ringing and it dragging you all over the place. How do you go about organizing your time, meetings, emails? How do you organize your day?
Yeah, that's something I think a lot about, and I also love learning from others as to what works for them. I am like you said, not having the bell schedule. I think I get the gift sometimes of some extended time to do some thinking, to read articles, or to work with folks, over longer periods of time. So um, I like to, get in around 7:15 or 7:30, check emails, do all the correspondence and thing, and then prioritize some of the big, tasks or things I need to work on earlier in the day, and then kind of fade in meetings as we go. And then today, for example, I was at another BOCES, participating in training there. So try to be in the office in the morning, check in with folks, make sure everything is like up and running, and then the rest of the day I can either be in the office or around the campus or potentially in other schools or in Zoom meetings, things like that.
Yeah. Andrew, Putnam Northern Westchester, again, you mentioned Neil Boyle, Dr. Lynn Allen. I mean, they're incredible. The services they provide there, in the way they do it, the staff, really incredible. What's it like working there, being part of a really great team?
It is really special. It is special that I always know that we are, with every decision, putting our students first, that we are supporting a diverse and really dynamic setting across our BOCES, because it's not, we have our school, we have our special education programs, career and technology. And then we also have adult education, we have professional learning, we have all these different things that we're doing. So there's always something new to learn. There's just such great collaboration across the agency because of all these different things we're into. And of course, it's all in service of our children. So our kids, from our 18 component districts across the region, across the state, and even farther. So, but working with leaders who have your back and where every decision is being made in the best interest of kids, it really, I think, gives me the best conditions to do the work that I do, and I hope that I'm able to do the same for my team.
Yeah, well said there, Andrew. You shared, you got your doctorate here, and you hear people get their doctorate. You hear how difficult it is to write the dissertation, but man, what an interesting topic. I loved it. Initial principal readiness to interconnect positive behavioral interventions and supports and school mental health. How, why, where'd you come up for that?
Yeah.
Especially thinking about those early principals, those young principals trying to do the best they can. Tell me about that topic.
Well, thanks. Yeah, this is something that's near and dear to my heart. Mental health is something that's very important to me. It's something that I've always, it's one of the reasons why I do what I do in education. And I had the privilege of working at a therapeutic residential high school where we served students with disabilities who also had really complex mental health needs and acute psychiatric needs, really in intense behavioral supports. And we were looking for how can we bring specific evidence-based mental health practices and generalize those into essentially a school setting. So we started doing research, and thanks to folks at the Summit School where I used to work, and our executive director, Dr. Brant Goldsmith, he connected with Putnam Northern Westchester Boces and folks there who were specifically supporting non-district schools. This was also something that I had no idea about. I was in an approved private school. We didn't know the resources that were out there. And thanks to folks at Putnam Northern Westchester Boces, we got looped into a network of others in specialized settings. So other folks who were in psychiatric settings and other approved private and special act schools. And through that, we learned about effective practices, about tiered interventions, about how you can take things that are typically individualized interventions and apply those and generalize those for more students. And then had the interest of learning more about this in public schools as well, because we know that mental health needs are universal. We all have mental health. We need to support mental health in all of our students and in all of our staff as well. So I really had an interest in learning how can we bring this into the schools. And I've never been a principal, but something that I learned from the research is that principals are the instructional leaders, of course, and they are the systems leaders in the school. So if you want to bring mental health or anything else into schools, it needs to start with the principals as well. And principals are just the key to these structures. So to go all the way to the end, what we found about this readiness is like, what are the signs that will show that here's a place where we can start. And what we found through the surveys and the research was that principals who were already comfortable and had structures in place that really supported students in a welcoming environment, that had safe schools that encourage respect and things like this. Those were places where we could start. It doesn't mean that you can't do this, but it just means you want to start from something that's kind of fertile, and that those who had strong PBIS infrastructure in place or had universal systems that already existed, that those would be the place that would have the strongest readiness to bring evidence-based practices and mental health in.
Wow. That had to be pretty clear, I'm sure, when you saw those systems in place and then you saw the outcomes. Was it a pretty clear equation there?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it really pointed to, and it kind of makes sense. Like you think about your multi-tier system of support, that's like your closets where you can put everything on the hangers so you can, hang all your interventions and make sense of everything. And if you're going to bring in any intervention in literacy or in math, you want to have a universal system. You want to have targeted interventions. You want to have small group and then individualized interventions. So the same thing goes for social, behavioral, emotional health, mental health interventions as well. So you want to have a strong foundation of universal supports and behavior and SEL, things like that, and that way you can layer on supports that happen not in absence of the universal supports, but just to complement them and have a system that already exists for it.
Yeah. Wow. Very cool, man. Very cool. When did you get your doctorate? How long ago was that?
I defended in December of 2016.
Okay. It's a
Yeah,
good
so a
while
little
now.
more than 8 years. Yeah.
Wow. Something also that's a good while is a former basketball career. If you saw Andrew standing up, you'd say right away, like, "Whoa!" I remember you walked up. I said, "You're a hooper for sure." We connected there. Played at Arizona State. Was a New Yorker here, and then went on to play professionally as well. Andrew, why Arizona? Why so far? How'd you get there? All of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, this has the real answer of 13-year-old Andrew, or actually 12 maybe at the time, which was the family trip out west, summer trip. We flew out to Vegas, did the national parks, everything like that. End up, taking a great road trip with my family. On our last day, we're flying out of Phoenix Sky Harbor, and of course, Tempe, the beautiful city and the campus where ASU is a stone's throw. So we're spending the day there, and I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. I'm going here. This is it. Like, I'm a Sun Devil. Like,
Whoa!
it also helped that year, they made it to the Rose Bowl. You got Jake the Snake Plummer, so there's a lot to root for. But I was just like, this is very cool, and I wanted something that was different than where I was coming from. I wanted a big campus. I wanted warm weather. I wanted the whole, what was then the Pac-10, RIP. I wanted the whole experience, and I was just like, yeah, that is where I want to go.
Wow. Wow.
And
And
of
did
course, it's a
you
fine academic institution.
did you want to stay out there? What brought you back home? A lot of times people go where they college,
Yeah.
they stay, plant roots. What made you come back
It's
home?
really interesting. So I went out there. I was a manager on the basketball team, and my, goal at that point was just to be involved in basketball. I wanted to
Yeah.
just be alongside it. I had no idea that I would ever be able to play, or I had no idea what it took to play, but it certainly wasn't, I didn't expect to do it. And so I got out there, I was a manager, started working out, getting into practices, learning what it was like, all of that, and really committed myself and said, wow, I want to do this. So thanks to, the incredible coaches there and my teammates, ended up walking on. And then at the end of my senior year, I was like, I gotta, I also learned a lot about, just like the basketball world overseas and
Sure.
things like that. Cause we were really fortunate being in Tempe, being adjacent to Phoenix. Like the Phoenix Suns would come and work out with us in the summers. A lot of international players were staying in Phoenix, so they would come through and, hoop with us in our open runs. And I was like, wow, there's this whole world that I just did not know about. But I knew that, I did want to come back home. So I came back home, got involved in, all the ball here, started playing at Rucker, Hoops in the Sun at Orchard Beach, Dykeman, West Fourth, Gun Hill, all the, and, places that I grew up kind of idolizing, and made some connections. And then from there was able to get overseas. I started playing with the Harlem Wizards, played some CBA, some ABA, USBL, all the minor leagues that used to be around in our area.
Wow.
And then ended up getting over to Germany, and then to Japan, played on the US Maccabi team in Sydney, Australia.
Wow.
And even after I was done playing professionally for a couple of years, was still able to keep up. Even this was not continuous, but I played at Rucker up until a couple summers ago. And my proudest, I've got the trophy in the room. The winning 2 championships at EBC at Rucker Park is something that I'm really proud of, and never thought that I would be able to be a part of. And so thankful to the entire Rucker community, to Greg Marius, to John Strickland, to all these guys that really helped me to connect and to be a part of this. Really changed my entire life.
Yeah. Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And the travel out on the West Coast, again, playing at places like UCLA and Arizona. What was that like as a New Yorker going to all these places?
I absolutely loved it. It was just like a dream come true, going out. Like, yeah, you said it was really nice because the way that the Pac-10 and Pac-12 had it set up was, the schools were sort of in tandem. So there was like the Washington trip where you would either you'd fly to Idaho if you were playing Washington State first, drive to Pullman, and then take a flight to Seattle. There was the Oregon trip. There was the Bay Area trip for Cal and Stanford. There was the LA trip, obviously, for USC and for UCLA. And a bunch of guys from our team were always from LA. So that was always a big trip. And then, of course, there was that other school about an hour down the road, so that was always fun as well. So I mean, I again loved it. I mean, going out to UCLA and seeing John Wooden, sitting behind the bench and being able to shake his hand was incredible. And again, just something that I never thought I'd be a part of, and felt, I think about it every day, and it really gives me chills, kind of.
Yeah. Andrew, you mentioned coming in as a manager and then working your way up. They say like the catcher is always a good baseball manager, when they're older. So for someone who kind of saw all the behind the scenes, you saw the struggles, you helped people, but then you had a chance to do it yourself too. What are some of the lessons that you take from that time as a manager and
Mm.
player to now as a professional educator, a doctor, a dad, a husband? What are some lessons that you take with you?
I think one of them is like the singular focus, like the work that has to go into it. I mean, I'm 6'9", that helps, but there's 10,000 guys that are 6'9", and that they're not in the league, and I'm one of them. Like people on the street, they see, oh, you're tall, why aren't you in the NBA? I'm like, all right, dude. Like, there is a focus and a commitment and a drive to do this at the highest level that you have to have. And I think, that was really, I saw it at ASU. I really saw it playing in Japan, where it was just on like another level. Like, I thought I knew what focus was, and then I went to Japan, and it was like, again, just a whole other level. But being at ASU, seeing that, seeing the commitment, seeing how this is just what you live and breathe and do, and have 5 a.m. workouts. And as a manager, actually, I literally had a key to the arena, so I could come in at night, open it up, try to get a run going myself, or bring friends in, turn the lights on, and play in a 14,000 seat arena with no one there. Like, it just it was like the best environment to go into, having the facilities. So, but just seeing what it takes, like, you have to dedicate yourself to it. And then the second part of it is really the passion behind it. You have to want this, you have to love it. And I think that's true for anything that, including my job now. You have to love it. You have to love students. You have to love who you serve, and you have to love those who are on your team, because you are serving them as well. And then there's just no shortcuts. I mean, you've got to do the work. I don't, you can go through the motions. I think about the John Wooden saying, like, don't mistake activity for achievement. You can run around, make it look like you're doing a lot, but you have to be dedicated. You have to have the focus, and I think you have to have the passion behind it. And I say the passion because I had a late start to hoops, and I played with guys that were all Americans, and I played with guys that on paper were certainly way better than I was, but for whatever reason, they just didn't make it afterwards. They kind of burned out or flamed out. They just got exhausted, or they didn't have the passion for it, and were just kind of doing it because they were great at it, or got them to college, which was wonderful, and that's all real. But like, the fact that I think I was able to kind of capitalize on this little run that I had for 7 or 8 years means a lot to me, and I think I would attribute it to focus and to the passion.
Wow. Very cool there. Andrew, a number of people watching live, if they want to jump in with a question or a comment, Dr. Andrew Ecker, Putnam Northern Westchester Boces here. Fantastic. You and I could talk hoops a long time there. But that was a great answer. Singular focus. You got to love it. And there's no shortcuts. Great answer there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we bring that to our world as education leaders.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Andrew, how about outside of school? Some passions. You mentioned about exploring New York City, living in New York City. What are some passions that you have outside of work and basketball?
Yeah, well, I have, I think, the best family that anyone could ask for. So my wife Ariel, and our son Sam, who's six. There you go. There you go. And our son Sam, who is 16 months, and everything that we do together is just like the most special. So on Sunday we went to the Queen Science Museum and just had like the best time, and then went out for lunch after. So everything with Ariel and with Sam is the best. On Friday night we took our nephews for our annual game to Barclays, so we went and saw the Nets and Blazers. Josh and Justin, our nephews, who are two incredible young men who are 12 and 16.
Ooh, nice.
And then being with our families. My parents are now down in Florida for the winter, having a great time down there. My wife's family's in Minnesota, so anything with our family is just the best. And I have some great friends as well who I have known since kindergarten and even before that. And I'm so lucky to have such a tight, great group of friends. And I was with them over the weekend as well. So just thinking about this past weekend, that's like the ideal thing for me. I was with my family, I was with my friends, and I was just surrounded by love and by laughter.
Beautiful. And your son Sam, we got a Nerf hoop in the living room yet?
Oh,
How we doing
absolutely. I think his third word is dunk. It was mama, dada, and now he's saying dunk. So
there?
he is on it. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, hopefully you'll pass some of that 6'10" on to him as well. Beautiful to hear there. Andrew, again, talking about your doctorate, the mental health, you also shared about some of the challenges that you had in terms of expressing emotion, maybe holding back in some areas. When did you start to recognize that? And then what were some work throughs, some solutions there that you found to do that? And thank you for sharing that as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, growing up, I think I experienced some hardship. My dad was sick with cancer, and thankfully, he's better now. But from the time when I was about 5 until 12, he was kind of consistently sick, and that was really
Wow.
scary. And it's
Wow.
one of those things where now I know that like I didn't know how I think scared I was at the time, but obviously it was manifesting in lots of different ways. And it came to a point where, especially towards the end and in middle school, I was just really struggling. I think I was depressed. I was anxious. There was just a lot going on. And, my parents, I'm so thankful, saw this and were able to, get me help. And there's also a lot of privilege that goes into navigating these systems because I know that thanks to, having the resources to do this, but also having the resources and sort of the social capital to like navigate the systems, especially, uh, 25, 30 years ago, helped a lot. So I was given a lot of opportunities. I was given a lot of support and help. And that was something that, again, is why I want to do what I do, which is to make that universal because you shouldn't have to, not everyone has those privileges or is able to navigate these systems in that way or speaks the language, whether formal or informal, of mental health, of being able to, get into doctors and things like that or access certain things in schools. So, that's important to me. I think everyone deserves that opportunity to thrive in school. And I think mental health obviously contributes to, your success in life and school for sure. So that's a bit about where that came from.
Yeah, very cool. How about being away from home so much, playing professionally as a young adult, being on the West Coast? Were that challenges for you? Were you homesick? Was that something you had to work through, or you were loving
A
the whole
bit,
thing?
yeah. I mean, I think that my family, something that they knew from early on was that when I needed to like get out, that they supported me with that as well. So, there were times I grew up in a really small town, which was great, but also sometimes a small town can be a little constricting. And I used to, get out to the city and go explore, sometimes with permission, sometimes without. But I would go and hop on the Beeline bus or Metro North and go into the city and just like explore the city. And I've been someone that is independent and travels and does things. So I think they've always, my family has always supported me, and knowing that they support me in that, when I was abroad or when I was out at ASU, I think knowing that they were supporting me made me, be able to be in it more because there were times, especially in Japan, when I was struggling or I was banged up or hurt or worried about being cut or something like that, where you really feel far away. I'm literally on the opposite side of the world, whatever, 12 hours ahead. So you can't, make phone calls. You can't, be as connected, but knowing that, I had my family supporting me back home. I had, everyone had my back, I think made it, a lot more helpful.
Wow. When that career came to an end, Andrew, when you said like I am not going to play basketball for a paycheck anymore, was that challenging? Was that or sad, or were you ready to kind of say, no, I'm ready to turn the page now?
Yeah. I think that for me, I was a little bit readier than others because everything to me had felt like icing on the cake. Like I didn't grow up thinking this was possible. I always played ball, but I never thought that there was going to be a time after high school when I was playing ball. So there was never that expectation of playing in college or of playing professionally for sure, of playing at Rucker, any of these things. So, I mean, in the immediate, in summer of 2007, I was getting ready for what was then the NBA Developmental League draft, and I was actually playing at Pace College or Pace University and training with some guys, and I just blew out the arch of my foot, and I was like, all right, well, it's pretty apparent to me that this is going to like take the entire summer to get better. So it was, it sort of presented itself as like, this is what's going to happen, and something that helped me was that I truly like loved playing in the city league so much, and because that was something that I was able to stick with for years after I stopped playing professionally, like that's what I was sort of living for in terms of basketball. So the fact that I wasn't able to go and play professionally anymore, I think I was at peace with. It was if I wasn't able to like play for the summer, and I would literally spend all winter training, for that to be ready for the summer, to be in game shape, to come out, and be able to play for 10 weeks, 10 games a week, let's say, 5 games on weekends in the sun. That's like a lot of wear and tear. So I would try to, train for that. And I think that being able to have those opportunities made it a lot easier. So it wasn't just like cold turkey, no more hoops.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
very cool there. Great story. Again, playing at that high level Division 1, playing international, very cool. And now again, still going to Nets games and being connected. So, friends, if you're watching live, jump in. Again, a question for a comment for Andrew. Andrew, I don't know if you know that I was going to give you a wish here on the program. I like my props. I like my stuff. You got a wish here, Andrew, and we're going to
Okay.
rub here that So I give you this genie lamp. What's your wish for education today, for educators,
Mm.
for your son Sam, his future? What's a wish that you have?
Wow, what a great question. My wish is that, uh, what, I'll say this. I'll say that public educators are the best, and that my wish is for everyone else to know that. So public educators, keep doing what you're doing, keep being the absolute most incredible teachers, support systems, parents. When the parents aren't there, everything, you're just doing incredible things. You know what you're doing. There's nothing else that I can do for you. My wish is for the world to see the impact that our public educators, that our public school teachers, that every person in the school, no matter what your role is, and is just so important. And I want the whole world to see that. So my wish is for everyone else to know the greatness that exists thanks to our public school teachers.
Yeah, I agree there. Well said. Too much negativity out
Yeah.
there, and I concur. Right, they're serving our children, they're serving our communities. I'm so proud of the work going on in Port Jervis as well, and it's about time that we turn that. And that's why I love to be able to ask that question for educators, and even more loved your answer. Andrew, spring is coming too. You have almost a 2-year-old here now. So we're coming down the stretch of the school year. It's warmer. We're getting outside. How do you and your wife kind of turn the page on the school year this summer? What are some things you're looking forward to this summer and the end of the school year, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Wow. So I think it presents more time together, which is great, and we actually, started talking about some plans. I think we might be down the Jersey Shore with my family for a little bit. We probably will go out to Minnesota, but it's just more time together. I think things kind of slow down a little bit, which is nice. My wife's work is slower; she has more breaks. My work's a little bit slower in the summer as well, so just time together. I think we're just trying to savor this. It's really special time for Sam and for us. So every moment that we can spend together is just the best.
Yeah, enjoy that. Certainly going to Minnesota in
Thank
the
you.
summer,
Yes.
a little more nicer than negative whatever they're dealing with.
Yes, I'm the ASU guy, so it's gotta be warm.
Yeah. Awesome, Andrew. Something you wanted to talk about that I did not ask you?
Oh gosh, no. I mean, anything that you can offer, because I love listening to you. Truly, I mean, you led our administrative retreat, and there's anyone on here or that's listening to this or that will listen to this that has not had the opportunity, like I learned at your feet. So, what is one thing that is getting you through? I mean, I imagine that March in particular, I would think is can be a tumultuous time weather-wise, maybe also in schools. What is getting you through this time, and what is something that you impart onto your team to help them when this time of the year gets tough?
This guy, you're gonna be running your own podcast, man. It's incredible. I love it. I love it, Andrew. I'm going to go back to what you said. The singular focus. People ask me a lot, Andrew, how do you do it all? How do you do it all? I love it. I love it. I'm energized by it. So I wake up at 5, Andrew. That means I'm in bed early, but I wake up at 5. I get my exercise in, and then I really focus on what it is I want to do for the day. I focus on stuff outside of school like this, but then also in school. What can I do for Port Jervis? When you're constantly looking to serve others, when you're looking to deposit in the lives of others, it enriches you. I feel great after the podcast here, and I feel enriched and inspired by people like you. So when you constantly looking to do that for others, it comes back to you. And so I focus on what is it that I could do to promote Putnam Northern Westchester, Dr. Ecker, things like that. Whereas I'm doing that in my job in Port Jervis, focus on serving others and good things happen. So
tremendous. You know what? That makes me think, and you just mentioned serving others, so I will take an opportunity just to give a shout out to some organizations that are important to me, if that's all right.
Yes, please.
And one of them is NICASE, which is the New York Council of Administrators for Special Education. Humbled to be the co-president of this organization, and special educator and leaders in special education, I think, are doing tremendous work under very difficult circumstances. So I want to give a shout out to all of those, and just to know that NICASE is here to support you. If there are leaders on this who are not administrators in special education, but some folks who are, please, connect us, send them our way. NICASE is here to support all administrators who are serving students with disabilities. So whether you have it in your title, whether you want to learn more about, improving outcomes for students with disabilities, we are here for you, and we're really excited to partner with SANES and with NISCUS and other groups, because again, we know that we support those who have it in their title, but students with disabilities are general education students first, so we are here for all leaders as well. So I just want to give that shout out as well.
Very cool. As you're saying that, talking about special education, it made me think like special education is similar to refereeing. You're doing the best job you can, but there's always somebody that's not happy, like whether it's the parent, not the services. The teacher says, oh, they need more services. The kid is struggling. The budget director is yelling at you that it costs too much. I mean, someone's always not happy with your decisions.
I imagine that's the case. Yeah.
He concurs there. Awesome there. Again, friends, you're watching live, please jump in, say hello to Andrew. This has been a lot of fun. Andrew, you can tell you're a great dude, and I felt that.
Likewise. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Andrew, let's rapid fire there. I'm sure Sam will be ready to go here in a little bit, getting ready for dinner and with your family. So these are rapid fire, Andrew. This is
all right. Let's go.
Shot. The game's on the line.
Let's get those shots up. Let's go.
Probably early drawing up a play for the Sun Devils. He yells at the refs a lot, All right, here we go. Last book you read.
Chicka Chicka Boom Boom.
Okay, good. That's what your son. Is that a children's book?
Yes, but it stays with me. I mean, there's some important things in there.
Last movie you saw?
Wicked.
Ooh. Did you think it should have won Best Picture?
I think they all should have won Best Picture. They're all incredible. Support the movies and see them in theaters.
Yeah. Yeah. Last concert you went to? I'm sure that's challenging with a 1.5-year-old.
Madonna at the Garden.
Wow.
Incredible. Yeah.
Is it true that she comes out like an hour and a half late after when the show's supposed to start?
Yeah, but it's Madonna, so she can do whatever she wants. And you also know it. So it's like you just plan. Actually, with having a baby, it's great because you can tell the babysitter just to come at 9 and then you go and then you're back home. So as long as you know the schedule, then it's okay.
Can you walk to the Garden?
Sure. But that night, but it was in January, so we did not. But yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. That's incredible. Favorite dish?
Wow. I've eating a lot of chicken parm lately.
It's New York City. How many nights a week do you cook in versus eat out living in New York City?
Well, full disclosure, I'm a developing and aspiring cook who needs to be doing better. I can give a shout out to Uncle Giuseppe's in Yorktown, which is the source of many of those chicken parm meals. And to my wife Ariel, who's an amazing cook and who does a lot of cooking. So I hope to cook more, and I should cook more. But nights out, maybe one. But yeah.
You live in New York City. You only eat out once a week.
I think so. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Expensive.
It is expensive, that's for sure. All right, here's something to get you inspired to cook then. I
Okay.
didn't really want to watch it. I was forced to watch it, but I was glad I watched it. I don't know if you ever watched Julie and Julia.
I've not seen that.
Mark it down. Mark it
Okay.
down. You and your wife, if
Huh?
you like to cook, great story.
All right.
Julie and Julia, a lot of inspiration there,
Thank
especially
you.
for someone who wants to start cooking. Andrew,
Yes,
you've
I need to.
traveled literally the world,
Yeah.
traveled the West Coast. Where are some of your favorite places to travel?
So I would say Maui, which I went on my honeymoon, which was incredible. And then I would say my most memorable family trip was to Israel as a child, and then I returned in my teenage years. Absolutely love it there. And I would say Japan.
You've had some great travels that have impacted your
Yeah,
life deeply.
absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. Arizona State hoops is.
Oh, forks up, go Devils. That's it.
Is that what they say? Forks up, as in the
Yeah, the
the
pitchfork.
Southern.
That's it. Yeah,
Okay. Bobby Hurley is fill in the blank.
the right man.
You're happy with him as coach.
Absolutely. He's a legend. I trust in him. This is a tumultuous time in college sports. We just changed conferences. I mean, alignment. I uh, have all trust in Bobby. And I mean, when it comes down to it, who could be a better coach coming from where he's come from, his experiences, his intent? I mean, singular focus and passion. End
He
of the
is
story.
intense.
That's it.
He is intense.
Yeah.
I refereed Bobby, and Danny was his assistant at Wagner
Oh
College.
boy.
It was a lot of
Oh
fun.
boy.
Yeah. For sure there. Where did Arizona State land? Are they in the Big Ten? Are they in the SEC?
We're in the Big 12.
Big 12. Okay, so you were in
Yes.
Texas. Yeah, all
Yep.
those
All
Texas
those
schools.
schools.
Putnam
Kansas,
Northern,
Houston. Yeah.
Putnam Northern Westchester Boces is fill in the blank.
Success for every student.
They live it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. In
It's a core value.
2025, I will fill in the blank.
Dance.
In 2025, I will stop fill in the blank.
Worrying about things that are outside of my control.
Good answer. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Stop time.
You talked a lot about time. You're a new dad. I get you, man.
Yeah, I just want to just be in these moments like forever. They're so precious, and I love them and love my family, and yeah.
Beautiful. What's a pet peeve of yours?
Abusing power, abusing privilege.
At 8 a.m. on Saturday morning, I will be fill in the blank.
On the playmat with Sam.
Nice. One thing you're curious about.
Oh, everything. One thing I am curious about, always looking to improve, to be more efficient. Yeah, systems, ways to be more efficient.
Cool. Something about Andrew Ecker that people do not know about.
Well, it might have been that dance thing. I started taking dance classes as a New Year's, I guess, resolution, just something I wanted to try, put it out there, and wanted to take a risk, try something I'm not comfortable with, but kind of enjoy the idea of. And I'm doing it like once a week at my gym, taking dance classes and loving it.
You and your wife go together?
Solo. I would love to dance with her, but it just gets tough with, Sam. So
Yeah.
Wednesday nights, I'm at the gym and taking a dance class.
Good for you. Big dude
Thank
learning
you.
how to dance. I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
it's tough because some of those beats, like it literally takes me longer to extend or do the move. So the instructor is like kind of giving me some grace because I'm like always off because it actually takes me longer to like get up or get down or whatever. So yeah.
Andrew, another close friend shared recently they're doing tap dancing lessons. They wanted to work on their
Really
balance. They wanted to do it. They wanted to
nice.
challenge themselves. So good
I
for
love
you.
it. I mean, I think we get into these routines, and with that comes routine of movement. And I want to also create, new routines of movement, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
This guy's a sharp dude. Andrew, a quote you'd like to end the show with?
Okay. So this is like a little bit of a story if you have like a minute.
We got you, man.
All right. So I think I heard this one from my rabbi growing up. And I'm sure that this was told to me because I was probably like one of these boys in the story. So there, go back to the shtetl, and these two boys who are always kind of getting in trouble and thinking about how they can trick this rabbi. So they're thinking, say, oh, okay, we really got to play a trick on this old rabbi. He's always so smart. He knows everything. How are we going to trick him? How are we going to trick him? So they go out, they play for days. They're just trying to think to themselves, what can they do? What can they do? And finally, one kid goes, okay, I got it. And the other kid says, what? What are we going to do? He says, we got this butterfly, and I'm going to put it in my hand, and we're going to take it to the old rabbi, and we're going to say, Rabbi, there's a butterfly in my hand. Is it alive or is it dead? If he says it's dead, I open my hands and the butterfly flies away. And he goes, if he says it's alive, I smush the butterfly and show him it's dead. The other kid's like, oh man, you nailed it. We're going to trick this old rabbi. We got it. We got it. We got it. So they go, they find a butterfly, trap it in their hands. They go to the rabbi. They say, Rabbi, we have a butterfly in my hands. Is it alive or is it dead? And the rabbi looks at them and he says, the answer is in your hands.
Wow. Great story, Dr. Ecker.
Thank you, Rabbi Kenter.
Might have to work that into my routine there. Might have to use that.
Please.
Fantastic. Friends, this was Dr. Andrew Ecker, Putnam, Northern Westchester, Boces, a New Yorker, a Hooper. We had a lot in common. And Andrew, really very beautiful today, sharing. You could tell that you're grateful for your family and the love that you have, your beautiful wife, Ariel Sam. So continued success to you and your family.
Thank you so much, Andrew, for having me. Keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm really glad you shared the story. I'm glad you like the apple there, planting the seeds.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Coming back, Dr. Lynn Allen booked me, so I'm thrilled to be coming back.
Wait.
Fill your bucket again.
Absolutely. I'll see you soon.
Awesome. Andrew, stay on the line a second. Friends, we are going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond. This was Dr. Andrew Ecker. Did a great job. Leave him some comments there, and we are going to sign off on the show. Keep surviving and thriving, friends. Andrew, great job.